My wife sneered. You're not husband material. You're a placeholder until someone better comes along. You're not husband material. My wife, Naomi Parker, didn't even look up from her phone when she said it. You're just a placeholder until someone better comes along. The words didn't land all at once. They sank slowly, like something heavy slipping beneath water. I stood there in the kitchen of our Scottsdale home, still holding the grocery bag I had just brought in. Milk, eggs, her favorite almond creamer. Everything suddenly felt stupid in my hands. I blinked once, then again. I waited for her to laugh, for her to say she was joking. She didn't. She scrolled, calm, detached, like she had just commented on the weather. Say that again. My voice didn't sound like mine. She finally looked up. There was no anger in her eyes. No hesitation, only a quiet kind of certainty. I said, you're not husband material. She shrugged slightly. You're safe. That's all. Safe. The word echoed in a way that made my chest feel hollow. I set the groceries down slowly on the counter. Safe. She nodded. You're predictable. You don't challenge me. You don't excite me. And honestly, she tilted her head slightly. I don't see forever with you. There was not even cruelty, just truth delivered cold, measured, final. I felt something shift inside me. Not anger. Not yet. Something quieter. Something that felt like a door closing. We had been married for 3 years. 3 years of dinners, trips, late-night conversations, or at least what I thought were conversations. Now I wondered how much of it had been real. How long have you felt this way? I asked it carefully, like the answer might break something fragile. Naomi didn't hesitate. A while. How long is a while? She exhaled, slightly annoyed now. A year. A year. 12 months of pretending. 12 months of sharing a bed. 12 months of calling me her husband, while seeing me as temporary. I leaned back against the counter. The room felt too bright, too sharp. Then why stay? This time she smiled. It wasn't warm. It wasn't kind. It was practical. Because it's comfortable. And because... She paused, studying me. You're reliable. Reliable. Another word that sounded like a compliment, but felt like an insult. And what happens when you find someone better? I already knew the answer, but I needed to hear her say it. Naomi's lips curved slightly. Then I won't need you anymore. Silence filled the space between us. Heavy. Unavoidable. I nodded slowly, not because I agreed, but because something inside me had finally understood. This wasn't a marriage. It was an arrangement, and I was the placeholder. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the past 3 years. Every laugh, every argument, every quiet morning. I started noticing things I had ignored before. The way she rarely asked about my day. The way her attention drifted when I spoke. The way her phone was always face down. Details that once felt insignificant now formed a pattern. A clear one. And it led somewhere I hadn't wanted to look. The next morning, I made coffee. Out of habit. 2 cups. I stared at the second one for a long moment before pouring it down the sink. Naomi walked in a few minutes later. Dressed. Polished. Like nothing had happened. Are you still upset? She said it casually. Like I had overreacted to something small. I turned to face her. No. And for the first time, it was true. I wasn't upset. I was clear. She studied me for a second. Something in her expression flickered. Uncertainty. Maybe she expected anger. Or pleading. Or negotiation. I gave her none of that. I think we should talk about what happens next. I said it calmly. Directly. Naomi crossed her arms. About what? About ending this. The words landed differently this time. They didn't sink slowly. They hit hard. She blinked. Once. Twice. What? You said it yourself. I held her gaze. This isn't a forever thing. So let's not pretend it is. For the first time since the conversation started, Naomi looked caught off guard. You're being dramatic. I'm being honest. There was a pause. A longer one this time. Her confidence wavered slightly. You wouldn't actually leave. It wasn't a question. It was an assumption. One she had built over time. I shook my head slowly. That's the part you got wrong. And that was the moment everything shifted. Not loudly. Not explosively. But in a quiet, irreversible way. The next few weeks unfolded faster than I expected. Lawyers. Papers. Conversations that felt more like transactions than anything emotional. Naomi stayed composed, at least on the surface. But I started noticing cracks. Small ones. The way she lingered in doorways. The way she watched me pack. The way she hesitated before speaking. Like she was recalculating something. One evening, she finally said it. "You're really doing this." I zipped my suitcase. "Yes." She stepped closer. "This isn't what I meant." I looked at her. "Then what did you mean?" She opened her mouth. Closed it again. For the first time, she didn't have a clear answer. And that's when it hit her. Not all at once, but enough to change her expression. She had assumed control. Assumed certainty. Assumed I would stay, no matter what she said. And now that assumption was gone. Weeks later, everything was finalized. The house. The accounts. The life we had built divided neatly on paper. I moved it to a new place. Smaller. Quieter. But it felt like mine. For the first time in a long time. I started rebuilding. Slowly. Deliberately. New routines. New habits. A different version of myself. And then, about 3 months later, I saw her again. By accident. At a restaurant in Phoenix. She was sitting across from someone. A man I had never seen before. Confident. Well-dressed. Exactly the kind of person she had described. Better. I almost walked away. But then she looked up, and our eyes met. Her expression changed instantly. Surprise. Then something else. Something harder to name. She excused herself and walked over. "Hey." Her voice was softer now. Different. "Hey." There was a pause. A familiar one. But it didn't feel the same anymore. "You look good." She said it carefully, like she wasn't sure how it would land. "Thanks." I nodded. "So do you." Another pause. She glanced back at her table, then back at me. "I didn't think you'd actually move on like that." I almost smiled. "That's because you thought I was a placeholder." The words hung between us. This time, she felt them. I could see it. "I didn't mean it like that." She said it quickly, but there was no conviction behind it. "I know exactly how you meant it." I wasn't angry, just certain. She looked at me for a long moment. Longer than necessary. And then, quietly, she said, "I think I made a mistake." There was the reversal, the realization, the thing she hadn't expected to feel. I nodded once. "Maybe." Her eyes searched mine. "For what it's worth, I do see it now." I didn't ask what it meant. I didn't need to. She was finally seeing value. But only after it was gone. "I hope things work out for you." I said it sincerely. And I meant it. That seemed to affect her more than anything else. The lack of bitterness. The absence of resentment. It left her with nowhere to defend. No way to push back. She nodded slowly. "You too." I walked away first. Not because I had to, but because I could. And as I stepped out into the night air, something settled inside me. Not relief. Not victory. Something quieter. Something stronger. Clarity. I had never been a placeholder. I had just been standing in the wrong place.